Hi everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of USPodcast. USPodcast. So today we're going to be talking about new college. Hi everyone. Welcome to the second episode of USPodcast. Today's episode will be about new college. So what we hope to achieve with today's episode is to give students a chance and platform to discuss about new college and also to basically share what we hope to see in new college, because currently we know that the school NUS is currently working hard to come up with the structure about the curriculum and the infrastructure for new college. As you all know, there's recently been a merger. So what we hope to achieve today is to really give students a platform to discuss and voice out what we hope to see in our new school. So today we have gathered a wonderful panel of students from both Yale NUS College and USP. So we have two from each side. So let's start off with introductions first. We will go with name, year, major, and one fact about yourself. Anything you want to say? So let's start with Yong Song.
Hi, my name is Yong Song and I'm from Yale NUS. I'm currently a Year 3 student enrolled in the double degree program in Law and Liberal Arts. So one fun fact about myself is I only ate Panadol once a single time in my entire life, because I grew up in a household where we eat TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. Yeah.
Are you anti-vax?
I'm not anti-vax. I believe in vaccinations.
I guess we're all safe, guys. Next.
Hi everyone, I'm Panellists, a Year 2 USP in Computer Science major. Fun fact, I'm not really a bubble tea, Gongcha, milk tea kind of person, but it's nice lah. So yeah, nice to meet everyone. Hello.
Hi, I'm Shiloh. I was a Year 1 student at Yale NUS. I was thinking about studying economics and global affairs. Fun fact about me is I dropped out.
Oh, so then what's next? Which school are you from?
I'm an international student from the US, so I'm taking this year as a gap year and reapplying.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Reapplying to Yale?
To schools in the US and the UK. So
All the best.
thanks.
Next we have...
Hello, my name is Kai. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a Year 1 Econs and Sociology double major. And one fun fact is that I'm actually lactose intolerant. That's why my drink is different from the rest.
Yeah, and I'm Bian Tong from USP as well, Year 1 Business Analytics. Okay, so before we start with the whole discussion, let's give the viewers that don't really know or are not familiar with Yale NUS and USP basically what these two colleges are. And yeah, so let's start with Yong Song. Can you give us an introduction about Yale NUS?
Yeah, sure. So Yale NUS College is Singapore's first liberal arts college. It was established in 2011 and it admitted its first batch of students in 2013. So what a liberal arts curriculum basically mean in our context is that all students go through a common curriculum, which basically is a multidisciplinary curriculum that exposes students to a wide range of subjects, from the literature and humanities to philosophy and political thought, as well as this scientific inquiry. So after completing the common curriculum in the middle of in and about year 2, that's when the students will choose from 14 majors what they want to specialize in, and they will graduate at the end of 4 years from one of the 14 majors. And we have certain unique majors such as urban studies, anthropology, environmental studies, and these are basically the hallmarks of what the Yale NUS education provides. And on top of that, we also there are also like other interdisciplinary opportunities, such as this program called Week 7, where in Year 1 students get to go on a 1-week program where they pre-COVID they used to be able to travel overseas to basically learn about a more specialized area, a topic of interest. So I could talk more about what the education is about, but I think in short that is what the Yale NUS education is.
Yeah, so the USP, or rather University Scholars Program, is an undergraduate academic program established in 2001. So each year USP admits around 200 plus students from 7 partner faculties and schools in NUS. And the USP focuses on multidisciplinary learning, enabling students to make substantial connections across various fields, enhancing our intellectual depth and breadth. So basically we have a lot of interesting mods like In Search of Happiness,
In Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, What is Wisdom?
Narratives in everyday life.
Yeah, narratives in everyday life, com science revolution, things like that. Fun stuff. Yeah. So, okay, so what this whole merger is about is basically on 27 August 2021, we had a town hall where the school basically announced that we are going to merge both USP and YNC, Yale NUS College. And yeah, so why not we get a sense of how you guys remember the town hall, like what are you guys feeling, how do you guys take the news, things like that. Yeah. Anyone?
Shall go first?
Sure. So we had the same as USP. We got an email on a Thursday saying that classes for that Friday would be canceled, and there would be a town hall in the morning. And that was really all we got. And I think by the nature of Yale and US students, we all immediately started speculating, and like lots of rumors started flying. Some people thought it was going to be a merger. Some people thought Yale was going to pull out. Some people thought it was going to be some like stupid thing, and we were all overreacting. And there were just lots of rumors. And then pretty quickly everyone found out that like StuCo didn't know, the faculty didn't know, no one knew, and so everyone was just kind of freaked out about it. And then that morning, everyone I think had the town hall pulled up and watched, and then right after the news broke, you just heard people screaming outside at Yale and US. I have a couple funny videos of just like, you can hear screams just around campus of people like yelling and just being very frustrated. And so that's how we found out. Yeah, I don't know if someone...
I think we actually heard the screaming from
Yeah, yes, from Cinnamon we could hear some sounds.
I only found out about the merger through text. So suddenly I saw my Telegram being spammed with messages, like 100 over messages. Then I was like, whoa, what's going on? Then I opened the first chat, which was from my friend. And my friend was like, hey, do you know that Yale NUS and USP are merging? Then I was like, what? After I went back, then like I truly understood like the gravity of the situation. I think one of my Yale NUS friends was texting me, and she was quite affected by the merger. So I think like it had quite like a somber atmosphere after I found out that it wasn't indeed a prank. So yeah.
Yeah, so I guess one of the main issues was that a lot of people weren't involved, and we kind of understand the school's decision because sometimes some decisions need to be made, like I guess like that. That is why today we are gathered here to give students a chance and platform to basically share more about what we hope to see in new college and how we think we can make the best out of this whole situation. Because as with every change comes an opportunity for improvement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can just go across the panel and get your thoughts on what you think the current curriculum for your college is like, YNC, USP. Just a short sentence, like to describe the curriculum at the moment. So let's go.
If you want me to describe it in a short sentence, it would be like, I find it really eye-opening, and it exposes me to things that I otherwise wouldn't be exposed to. To elaborate a bit more, is because usually when we think about university education, we think about, okay, this is what I'm going to go into this course in preparation of what I want to do in life. Like if I want to study medicine, it's because I want to be a doctor. If I study law, it's because I want to become a lawyer. And that is what the liberal arts education kind of challenges, because it intentionally forces you to study over a quite wide array of subjects. And in the midst of that, it helps you, it just exposes you to things that you never thought that you'd be interested in. I enrolled in the double degree of law. I never expected myself to be interested in like literature or like stuff like philosophy, but some of these courses in our common curriculum happen to be the most like life-changing courses that I've been through. So for instance, like I had a class called Literature and Humanities in year 1, but it was taught by an environmental studies professor. So the whole class, instead of it being a very literature focus, the prof actually tied in all this literature text back to environmental issues. It kind of challenged kind of the way that we see and understand the world around us from very like human-centric lens. And it's like then by asking questions like, oh, how about animals? Can you think from the perspective of animals? I'm not sure if I hadn't been forced to take any of these subjects, I wouldn't have chosen it myself. Yeah, but it's after having went through that I look back, it's like, oh wow, it helped me connect the dots in certain things that I take for granted in life. Yeah.
Alright, next. Pandit?
Yeah, so for me to briefly describe USP, I would say it builds upon 4 core values that USP is really known for, and I think every USP students have heard this day in and day out. It talks about curiosity, curious, critical thinking, courageous, and engaged as an independent learner. So a lot of our modules, which we have we call it 3+A+1, it really builds upon these four values or pillars. For me, I would see it in that manner. It's actually also quite similar to what he has mentioned, like how USP is different, of course. You're not very liberal, but for myself, I major in computer science. But in joining USP, I get to do mods that are out of what you assume a computer science major would do. For instance, right now in this semester, I'm taking a mod on democracy and inequality. Like, how is that even computer science, right? So it really challenged us to really think beyond our own field, be really much of a critical thinker, but most importantly as an independent learner. And I think fundamentally that's what USP ties its value upon, and that's how we have been really building upon this over the last decade or so of when USP has started. So yeah.
I think the core of Yale NUS curriculum is that it's interdisciplinary and diverse. And so, like has been mentioned before, you're taking a class on literature, you're taking a class on social inquiry, but it's about so much more than that. And then just because Yale NUS as a college is so diverse, you get this huge diversity of perspectives and backgrounds and cultures and countries. And so any class, you just have so many different people coming from so many different backgrounds and ways of thinking that you just get this super interesting discussion, no matter the class or the topic. And I think that's a core tenet of Yale NUS.
For me, I think the USP curriculum offers enough flexibility while it's still quite exciting to think about what I'm going to take up. The reason why I actually chose to come to USP is because I saw the list of mods. And I was like, wow, that's like a lot of topics. I'm actually quite excited because my major is econs and sociology, which I feel like a lot of the USP mods actually tie into certain aspects of sociology. I feel like with the inquiry mods in particular, I feel it's the meat of the USP curriculum. It really offers like different lenses, different contexts to view like how we interact with society, like the world around us, and most importantly, it increases the number of perspectives we can view the world through.
From what I think I've heard from our two Yale NUS friends, hearing upon them, I feel what they've also shared is actually quite similar to what USP actually ties upon in terms of interdisciplinary, different curriculum and structure, that you wouldn't do mods that you would think you'll be doing unless you were like in a way forced to. Of course, you can apply for it.
Sure. I think there's actually more that we have in common than we realize, especially in this interdisciplinary aspect. I guess the biggest concern that many Yale NUS students would have really is like, while we acknowledge that the new college aims to try to promote this type of multidisciplinary learning, what we fear might be lost in this process is that really like the loss of diversity that Shiloh mentioned. Because currently the nature of Yale NUS is that it's very international. 40% of student population is made up of international students. And I think that really contributes a lot to the diversity of opinion and also diversity of student life that we have. What we really hope that it can be retained in the new colleges, we can still be able to attract students from all around the world to want to come to Singapore and want to study at a new college. Because I think that would be a tremendous loss if we don't manage to like retain it. Yeah.
For me, I feel USP is diverse, like to the sense that for me as a computer science student, I joined USP for two things: to improve upon my writing, was NUS research, and also I'm people from different like faculties and domains. But on the point of international students, right, that is something that I think in USP, I think we do have international students, but not as widely known as compared to the Yale NUS counterpart. So I do understand the sentiment that you guys are feeling right now. So,
Yeah.
I think to add on to that, right, I think the Yale NUS culture is actually quite like embracing, like quite all-encompassing. Yale NUS actually has more policies than USP, which is quite surprising, in place to protect its queer community against discrimination and all that. Because I think the policy we have in common is the policy against discrimination, the respect and consent policy. However, the Yale NUS, what's special about Yale NUS is that not only do they have mixed suites so that people from the transgender community can feel more comfortable, they also have the option to put their preferred name on their metric card, so that I feel like it's quite a show of respect to their identity as well as who they are as a person.
Yeah. And I think that's something that Yale NUS really prides itself on, and I think Yale NUS can always do better in that regards too. I think that there is a legitimate concern that the progress that has been made at Yale NUS will be lost within the merger, and kind of the lack of information about what policies will be put in place to protect minority students or to protect the progress that Yale NUS has made.
I think to add on to that, because I've been speaking to quite a few students, is that that's one of the points that I think you all from Yale NUS are quite worried about because of the lack of information and transparency. Like the future is quite uncertain as it is, and a lot of students are worried whether like these protections and these like the progress of what they fought so hard for will be lost.
So one concern I think a lot of USP students are also feeling, besides the values of USP, I think another concern that pragmatically is how we're going to take their mods as well. I think there's a lot of concerns that we have, how we're going to use their facilities, what's going to happen with like the fees and whatnot sort of stuff. And personally for me, I feel a lot of these like questions that obviously is going to be, a lot of us are going to ask, will not answer early on. All it happened in the town meeting, hey, we're going to merge. It left a lot of questions unanswered, and I think that's a lot of why a lot of people were uneasy with the whole situation. And I think till now, the feeling is still slightly raw as well.
Along that line, I'm a first-year student from the US, and I'd never been to Singapore before. So like the merger happened on my last day of LOA. So like I hadn't seen Singapore at all. I hadn't even seen the campus. And then we were told, basically, one, there's no answers at this point to most of your questions. Two, the policies haven't been figured out. Three, we can't really guarantee what will stay and what won't stay, or if the professors are going to stay or leave, or what new college will look like, especially in what will be my years 3 and 4, as you know, the older cohorts of Yale and US students leave, and it's just the sophomores and freshmen, or first and second years right now, and then they will be the third and fourth years. So what it will look like for us, and then two, if you withdraw before week 6, we'll give you your money back, but we're not really going to have any of the answers before week 6. And because there was, like the looming issue of, okay, well, if I stay here, I have to take the tuition grant. And if I take the tuition grant, I have to be here for 7 years, and there's really no out after that. And I'm in a country I've never been to before, and I don't really have the information I need to make an informed decision. It was really hard because it was like, I love everything I'm seeing so far, but there's no guarantee that what I love is going to stay. And so I just ended up making the decision to leave because there were no answers. I don't blame Yale and US or USP for any of that. I'm like so grateful for the support and the resources that the Yale and US faculty in particular gave, because they didn't know about this either, and everyone really did their best with the very limited information they had. But I think it was hard, and I know a lot of other international students who are having the same struggle now and who are considering withdrawing or staying on, or what the transfer system would look like, and it's really hard because there's not a lot of answers.
So what do you think that, like given the whole situation has happened, what do you think can NUS do now to support you guys?
I think it's hard because the decision's been made, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think that they can't just magic policies out of the air, like they can't tell us. And that's part of the problem, is there's really not much they can do, because these policies weren't set before and they're going to take a while to make. One of the main things after the merger happened that everyone realized is, anyone you talk to at YNC, they were like, okay, what school did you give up to be here? Or what did you give up to be here? And everyone had an answer, like especially the international students and a lot of the Singaporeans too. They all were like, I gave up this, this, and this to come to YNC. And so everyone was just kind of reevaluating their decisions and whether YNC was still the right decision given the sacrifices that they'd already made to come here. And so it's hard because I don't think there is a right way to handle it, because it is so uncertain, and I think it will continue to be.
I think another thing to be worried about is, I think the reason why USP and Yale NUS is having such a vibrant student life is because of the relatively smaller cohort. Especially for USP, we only intake around 200 a year. So like we have things like the house system where like each house has like quite a small group of students. House experience and like floor experience, it really helped enrich my student life as a year one, because we have a lot of events, we have a lot of house bonding activities, and I think one thing that a lot of people are worried about, especially since there's I do know a few house captains, is that how they're gonna handle the events logistically. Not only is the campus separate, like where are they gonna host the common events? What are we gonna do with the house system? Are they just gonna double each house? Are they gonna make new houses? And also, I'm quite worried about sort of the dilution of each culture, because I would feel that even though we are quite similar, we still have our own unique blend. So I rather we come together in a very cohesive way, such that we can complement each other rather than just have some sort of weird murky flavor. It's kind of like brewing tea in a sense.
What we hope to see is a commitment by NUS in trying to safeguard academic freedom as well as the principle of non-discrimination in the new college. And these are important because Yale NUS has, over the years, become really a safe space, an environment where civil society can thrive, as well as many student movements can also can be nurtured. And certain important organizations that have been started over the years include groups like CAPE, which is it stands for the Coalition for Advocacy and Political Education, as well as Fossil Free Yale NUS. All these are deeply engaged in political education as well as environmental advocacy. All these have played an instrumental role in not just within student life in NUS, but also the broader civil society in Singapore. And it's important to Yale NUS students that these organizations